Good morning, everyone. Ginette Biro here, and welcome to the podcast, you guys. And more specifically, welcome to the May energy update. Holy smokes, have we had a really interesting year so far of things being revealed to us having to really step up and discover who we are, energies being wild and active and pausing. We've had timeline pauses. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out some of my videos on YouTube, and they talk about this delay and pause in time. There has been a lot of stuff happening. So when I came to tune in for the May energy update, I remember when I was talking to Spirit, I was like, guys, what are we getting into for May? Like, do we want to know? And when they first started sharing some of the things, I was kind of like, oh. But then when I got out of the way and just kept listening, there was a lot of really cool stuff that came through. And so I'm excited to share this because, again, we are moving through some very dense third dimensional things, but there's so much we can do about it within our own consciousness and our own perspective and how we choose to view and create the reality we live in. So that's what I want to talk about. So let's get right into it. I've got a lot of notes here. So first of all, what do we have astrologically in May? May, we have eclipse season, which gets underway. Again, we just started that April 30th with the first partial solar eclipse. But that leads into, on May 15th, we have a full moon with a total lunar eclipse. So anytime we have an eclipse where we had the sun and then the moon balances it, that's a full circle. That's a cycle completion. So like a micro cycle within the greater cycles is when those eclipses happen like that. So notice around May 15th with a full moons are all about culminations. And with that being a lunar eclipse that answers the solar eclipse that we had on April 30th, that's another energy of culmination. In tarot, that is considered the world card, right? A cycle of events coming to completion. So notice for you what comes to completion around that time. If what is coming to completion is a repeated pattern for you, that's an extra emphasis of put that pattern to rest. Put the thing that keeps being repeated to rest. How can you mend it, heal it, let it go, put it away? Whatever you can do, it is being repeated and completing again, so you can actually put it away on the shelf. You do not need to carry that in your backpack, right? You don't need to carry that around in your energy anymore. So notice that. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the sun and Uranus, or Uranus, as they say. I don't even know how to say that planet. I've heard people say all kinds of different ways. I'll go with Uranus. The sun and Uranus come together May 5th. And this is an energy of revolution. This is an energy saying, wake up, humanity. Now, for many of you guys that are light workers, those that are listening to this podcast, each and every one of you are opening and awakening and expanding your light. So the idea of wake up, humanity, you guys are already on that train. You're already holding up the signs. You're already doing things to brighten your light. So you are already doing. But notice in the world around you, what kind of revolutionary energies are at play? What kind of events are happening that are really asking for humanity to step up even more? And notice if any of those events are happening through Earth as well, because Earth, and I recently talked about this in my cosmic consciousness circle, Earth herself, the energy of Earth, Gaia, which is the spirit, is pushing this 5D consciousness to help humanity step up as well. So not only are we getting higher consciousness shining down on us from the cosmic collective, but we're also getting it pushing up from underneath our feet, literally through Earth. All of this to sandwich humanity in a waking up, in a way to wake up in consciousness. So May 5th, there's an extra emphasis on that. Now, I also want to say that Mercury goes retrograde as well in May. I believe it's May 10th. I forgot to write that in my notes, but I believe that's on May 10th. And I want to say this. So our resident astrologer, Shannon Takas at Avalon Spirit, she said it in the coolest way. This idea of understanding what Mercury retrograde really does. She said it is basically a permission slip to slow down and reassess. A permission slip to slow down. What an amazing thing. Oftentimes we hear so much about Mercury retrograde being this this time when communication falls apart, when our minds aren't working as clearly and we see the negative, but she spun it in a way that this is an opportunity to slow down. What a great thing. And in that slowdown, we have the ability to reassess our situation and reset our mindset. That is absolutely what I'm going to be focusing on in the retrograde. So Mercury retrograde, bring it on, bring on the mind, bring on this reset, reassessment, and reevaluation, because anytime we reevaluate something, we get a little bit more detail on what we want. And that detailed understanding of what we want helps add detail to our manifestations. It gives the universe a clearer frequency of what you want to bring in your path. So I think that's just such a great thing, fantastic thing. So then when I asked Spirit a little bit more about the energies at play, so not just the astrological alignments, but like the energetics of what's going on, they had the following things to say. So they said energies are so challenging right now, so hard to give predetermined outcomes or premonitions, as we all know them. It's challenging to give that right now because they said so much of the ways things can unfold is up to humanity right now to decide. Each and every one of us deciding our highest trajectory of what we want to manifest is really changing the way in which we are going. So it's hard for them to give us predictions because so much is in our hands right now. And so they said, what we really can focus on right now is collaboration. They're saying focus on what you want in your world for you, but also in collaboration with other people. Because the more we collaborate together, the more we awaken humanity together, creating those big ripple effects, which then shift a greater consciousness. And that's what we're doing. So if we focus our energies on collaborating, basically they said, where are you sharing your skills and your knowledge? And also, you don't need to know or do it all. Let others be the experts. Be willing to co-create. So if we look at, first of all, where are you sharing your skills and knowledge is where can you in your life step out of your comfort zone and share what you know? Share what you do. How can you do that a little bit more? How can you give a little more of your expertise, in whichever way that is, to benefit others? Because when you do that, you're also then making space for others to do that for you. And so what a lot of us end up feeling is that we should be able to do it all, or we should know it all, or we could take it all on. I know growing up, I was always like, oh, I can do it myself. I can do it. I'll figure it out. I can do it. And I had to really learn how to let others do for me, right? Let others be the expert on something. I didn't need to learn it. I could let somebody else show me based on their expertise. And that could be a beautiful gift. And so it's this beautiful harmony between being the teacher and the student. We don't need to always be the student, and we don't need to always be the teacher. When we balance out those two ends of the spectrum in our world, we actually gather so much more wisdom from it. So in this collaboration, where can you give your skills and abilities and thoughts? And where can you also collaborate by receiving others' skills and abilities and thoughts that resonate with you? And so within the energy of these collaborations, Spirit is saying, focus on the frequency that you feel in these collaborations. You will feel what is right for you if the frequency aligns, if it is steady within your undercurrent. Anything that is not steady in your undercurrent is trying to give you a message of something's not right here. Dig a little deeper. Okay, so really listen to that frequency. Now, the other thing they wanted to say is there are going to be a lot of plot twists for May. And that is, again, because humanity is so in the driver's seat right now of the ways in which our destiny is unfolding. There are many timelines and potentialities available to us. So that means there will be many plot twists. So we may feel like things are going in one direction and then suddenly they spin in another direction, but then they spin back almost to the same direction as before. There's plot twists. And they're saying, notice these, but don't get attached to them. It's kind of like when you are watching a movie, you sometimes have to remember you're watching the movie, you're not in the movie. So don't get too connected, right? If the character you really like ends up doing something you don't like, or they die and you get really upset about it, it's like, remember, you're just watching a movie. And so for as much as you can, any of these plot twists, if you find yourself being caught up in the drama of it or the turmoil of it, if you can and where you can, step back into the observer mode, because with that plot twist, it might not be permanent either. It may twist yet again. Again, they're showing it to me right now visually in my mind as many spinning tops happening right now. So potential for plot twists. And that also has to do with the eclipse season, right? Being in this eclipse season energy right now, eclipses represent massive transformation. And transformations often come in these plot twists, things we didn't expect, tower moments, crumbling moments. But these crumbling moments allow us to shift a trajectory, shift a direction, or be set free from something in many ways. Okay, so consider that in those plot twists. We don't need to fear these plot twists. And I actually asked my guides that too. I'm like, hey, you're saying plot twists. Well, that's kind of like dangling something pretty big right now, considering where the world is at. And they said, again, that message of stepping back and observe it. You don't have to get deeply entrenched in it for the most part. Again, this is general guidance. Everyone's journey is a little bit different. But whatever those plot twists trigger for you, if it is in fact a trigger, notice what it's telling you. And that's where you can make the most of it by shifting, changing, mending, healing, whatever it's telling you. But also remember that some of these plot twists might be beautiful things that actually create these amazing alignments for you. So you may be working towards one path that you think is good enough and it will do well for you. But something comes in as a plot twist, say the job you're wanting completely falls from your fingers, falls from your grasp, and you're thinking, what? This was the smartest, most aligned thing I could do. But what it does is it makes way for, say, the next week, all of a sudden you are offered this amazing dream job that you even didn't think yourself worthy enough to even apply for or get, but you got out of these magical synchronistic events, right? So plot twists do not have to be a negative. They can be, in fact, a very positive thing. But there is this high potential of these plot twists, okay? Now, the other thing Spirit wanted to say too, and I found this really helpful for me specifically, and this came through reading, so I'm so grateful. I love when messages come through readings, is cryptic messaging. So for many people, they're noticing this energy of cryptic messaging right now from Spirit. And the guides were saying that from May through the summer, many of us who continually communicate with Spirit, and for all of you that are looking for guidance specifically from your guides, some may be very clear, but there's some that's going to be cryptic. And we're going to be in a bit of a season of cryptic messaging for a little bit. And Spirit said, this is very purposeful. They're saying, try to read between the lines, try to look a little deeper to the messaging we're giving you, look for patterns in it. If there's symbolisms, look to what those symbolisms can represent, because with all of this changing and volatility and variability happening on planet right now, and this play and pull between light and dark, high vibe and low vibe spirits, pesky spirits wanting to run amok and keep humanity low vibe, is when Spirit brings down messages, they're bringing from a higher frequency messages down into our frequency. When they bring really blunt, straight to the point messages, pesky spirits that sit in fourth dimension can come in and catch it and manipulate it or twist it or warp it. And so to prevent that warping or that potential for warping, Spirit is going to bring it through a little bit more cryptically. So that's why it's going to be really important to notice what you notice. If you're getting mad at Spirit and saying, guys, why can't you just tell me the answer? I have definitely been someone who has done that. So no judgment. They risk a warped message in being that clear right now. So they have to find creative ways to communicate. So that's why they're saying cryptic messaging. When they bring through messages in a more cryptic way, the lower pesky vibes can't figure it out. So they just don't even bother. They're like, whatever, I don't know, passing on, looking for that direct messaging. So keep that in mind if you're getting a little frustrated with the messages from Spirit, is notice the pattern of messaging that's coming through. Notice what those symbolisms are for you and all of that, because they're going to keep trying to communicate as best as they can, but they have to do it slightly differently right now because of the amount of energies at play, the amount of energetic plot twists that can happen, because of the energy of the eclipse season, because of the energy of Uranus coming into play, Mercury retrograde, all of this, the amount of free will at play right now that is really dictating some really big things on our planet, and the amount of fear energy percolating. It's a real hot pot mix of stuff. But remember, Spirit had said that from 2020 to 2024, we would have a huge increase in consciousness and evolution and awakening. And we are right in the middle of it. It is moving very fast. It is very thick. It is very murky. It's like we are right in the thick of the jungle right now. If we had to get from one side of the island to the other side of the island, where we are in our ascension process, we are literally in the middle of the jungle. It is hot. It is full of bugs. It is full of creepy crawlies. We have had to avoid certain big, scary animals. We've had to move through nighttime, which is even scarier because more insects come out that we can't see. We have felt blinded. We feel overheated. We are hungry. Many of us might be swollen from bug bites, I'm describing this imagery, but that imagery is what Spirit gave me to really express how they see us moving through this right now. We are in the thick of it. We are in the jungle. Our knife blade from hacking the vines in our way is starting to get dull. So we're having to work harder. We're having to put more muscle into it with an already fatigued mind, body, spirit. But Spirit is saying, keep going. Keep working smarter, not harder. Recognize when you need to rest versus when you need to push through something, right? Which is why Mercury retrograde coming in is really recognize where you can rest, where you do not need to push something uphill. Recognize where that is and let it work with you, so that you can really bring in the alignments that you want. Because as we move through all these changing energies, the more we stay solid in our own frequency, the less we will be swept up into the whirly dramas of 3D life. The more we can remain the observer of all of that, the more we can hold our frequency high and keep manifesting the reality we want. Now, the more of us that do that and hold our frequency high, the more we create a collective energy of higher frequency, which then creates a tipping point of when humanity steps up into full 5D consciousness. So really, it's a beautiful thing, but we are in the thick of it. We are tired. We are questioning, but the message from Spirit is keep going. Keep going. Keep following the signs that are bringing you to your highest good. Keep recognizing you are here for a reason, moving through these things at this time to grow and ascend and change the structure of human consciousness on this planet. That's a big thing. That is a big, amazing thing that we have all signed up to do. And so remember that somewhere within you is really wanting to step up. And so if we remember to collaborate, just like if we were trying to survive moving through this jungle, if we work with others, we're going to get so much farther. So collaborate. If you are a strong hunter, then be the metaphorical hunter. Let somebody else be someone that builds the shelter. Let somebody else be someone that is the medicine man and knows, the secrets and salves and mending ways of the rainforest or the jungle, right? Work together. So that's really what Spirit wanted to share. I am excited for this energy of May. I'm actually very excited for this eclipse season because I think it's going to help us get farther in our evolution. I think it's going to allow a few more things that need to crumble. And it's going to be an even bigger push for people that need to really make that choice to step up into who they are for them to do so. So I am putting a lot of positive energy behind all of this. I hope you guys all do too. And I'm going to leave it with you in that way. I'm going to leave it there and just say, make the most of the energies, make the most of your journey, appreciate your journey, and rest when you need to rest. So thank you all so much, as always, for joining me on the show. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. And if you guys are looking to deepen your journey, your access to consciousness, check out avalonspirit.com. We have so many avenues for opening up consciousness from the different practitioners. They have so many beautiful gifts and abilities to share with you to open your consciousness. And also, if you really want to expand consciousness, check out Cosmic Consciousness Circle with me. That is once a month. We go deep into expanded ways of thinking. And this is all messages brought through from spirit. It's fun, and it is always eye-opening. And lastly, if you want to deepen your journey of opening your gifts specifically, join me in my Lightworker Mentorship Circle. There's a level 1 and a level 2. You can either take a pre-recorded version and do it at your own time, or you can sign up for when I'm teaching it live. So lots of things, lots of ways for you to navigate things. If these feel like they align with you, definitely join me there. I would love to see you. So happy May, everyone. And I will see you guys next week.